Hey guys, I'm Lighty. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to pick what build you'd like to league start with. Now, this is a multi-tiered process that I have to go through, and everyone also has to go through every single league. So I'm just going to tell you my process on how I pick my 3 starter builds, and then from that point, how I pick my 1 starter build in any given league. Holy shit, Groose, you hearing this? This guy's got some serious knowledge. You and your crotch bore. Now, my personal process begins with the main step, which is what haven't I played. I identify what builds I played recently and pick something that's not that. POE.Ninja is a great website for checking economic statistics, but also for checking builds. It'll show you in each specific league a percentage of what players are playing each build, using what skill, using what unique. Gives you a really good baseline. That's really all you're looking for. I'm not personally looking just to simply copy paste someone else's build, but you could do that too. That's totally fine. What I'm more looking for is just a baseline. So if I already identified that I played, for example, this year I played a Necromancer. I clicked Necromancer, hit the minus sign, removes it from the list. I played an Assassin because I'm playing Cospriest. Let's remove that one from the list. And I played Armageddon Brand Chieftain. Let's knock that bad boy off the list. So now I'm left with every other Ascendancy in the game. What else did I play recently? Delirium, played Guardian, not gonna play them again. Check down the list, what else has been pretty frequent. Played a lot of champions in my life, let's not play a champion. Inquisitor, I played an Inquisitor in my private league, let's knock him off the list as well. Alright, so I've got myself with a good baseline. I've removed 6 of the, whatever 20,000 ascendancies there are. Now I can go to the next set of the list, which is identifying what cool skills are upcoming or what skills I'm interested in. They recently just showcased all the new updated skills from the Shattering Steel stuff to the new Firestorm, and maybe I'll pick something that resembles that. But you'd be asking, well, no one's playing fucking Firestorm, and obviously no one's playing Blazing Salvo, didn't exist prior to that. But I want to play that build as a Saboteur. So let me look at Saboteurs. A lot of build people are playing Saboteur in one specific capacity. That's Ball Lightning. I kind of like to play Chaos Inoculation. I feel like it's a good fit for Saboteur. It's either going to be Chaos Inoculation or maybe some Eldritch Battery shit. So let's look at the best Eldritch Battery helmet, Devouring Diadem. One person's doing that. Alright, maybe that's not such a good idea, so let's cross that one off the list. A lot of Ball Lightning. Let's check who has the most Ball Lightning damage. So I'm going to go by DPS. We'll check, where the fuck is it? Ball Lightning and damage. Okay, what do we got here? A lot of low life, a lot of shavs probably. You can tell because their ES is a lot higher than their life, but the life is not 1, so it's not Chaos Inoculation. But let me check one of their names. Yep, they're using shavs. Not totally surprised. Let's go back to search. We'll click on shavs and hit the little minus sign. So we'll remove all low life option. All right, so we got life and a couple CIs. Not very many Chaos Inoculations, but I kind of like Chaos Inoculation, so let's go with that. Type in Chaos. There's the passive keystone, Chaos Inoculation. All right, so I've whittled myself down even further now. I want to play a Chaos Inoculation build. I want it to be a Saboteur. I want to play with mines. That's why I picked Saboteur. Could be traps technically, but mine are traps. These are the ones we got going on here. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different options to look at, and a lot of them look like using the exact same type of stuff. Fire trap, flamethrower trap. I really don't want to play traps, I want to play mines. Let's cross that one off the list. Alright, so we've got ourselves a pretty nice little cross section here. This one's gone the deepest in delve, so I'm going to consider it the quote-unquote best of the builds here. And let's click this one. And yeah, it's got some cool stuff. Now, we just left Harvest League, so I just want to make sure if I'm using this guy as a baseline, if I'm basically using him as a template to make my build off of, that he doesn't have anything super harvesty. So what I mean by that is anything that's like, if his whole build is 6 T1 crafted items, it probably is going to have specific things I can't necessarily build in Soul Self-Found. But it looks to be all, honestly, pretty basic stuff. His skill tree looks pretty cool. I can always click his passive tree here, pop that bad boy out, and take a look at what he has. Again, I want to play Firestorm, Blazing Salvo. He's playing Ball Lightning, but does he have any specified lightning nodes? Nope. You know why that is? Because they're pretty shit. So basically, I could plug and play any sort of skill in here, and it's giving me a pretty similar result. I like a lot of his pathing. I like a lot of his decisions. I might do a Thread of Hope setup here, maybe some Intuitive Leap shenanigans. But yeah, no, but I like the gist of his thing. Again, you could do a Thread of Hope there to hit that glancing blows. But yeah, I like the basis of his thing. I'm going to use this as a framework, and I'll mess with this down the road. But this is an example of a perfect tree I could use. So I've identified a build that I want to emulate. This is a build that I want to use as a baseline. So now just the simple part is just I could just plug and play. I mean, he's using Ball Lightning. Nothing else is specified here for ball lightning. Slower projectiles is, so I would take out ball lightning, take out slower projectiles, and we could toss in just, you know, spitball in here, firestorm and fire pen. All right, I've got myself a basic 6-link. Bingo bongo. What else we got going on here? Nothing else looks really specific. Everything else is pretty generic. All I'm looking to is get myself in the door, get my foot in the door to get a feel for how the build's playing. So when I start leveling the first week of heist, I could tweak and I could trim and I can cut the chaff here and there and get a better sense of what I'm doing. Now I'll do this exact same process 3 different times, and I'll end up with something a little bit what I'm about to show you. So I made this for my potential starting builds when it came to harvest. Again, it's just plug or play. So I just, you know, do the exact same process we just saw I did. But I do it for a couple different builds. I did bleed bow, I did cast spellslinger, I did 2-hand melee crit. Now I do this normally prior to patch notes. Patch notes for me is, and for everyone else for the most part, on Tuesday, and patch notes, as you know, can gut your build. Now there's nothing really in this build that can be totally annihilated by patch notes. Glancing blows could get removed or nerfed, in which case I just remove that and I shy away from the block option. That's totally fine. Again, you're building a base, you're building your baseline so you could plug and play down the road. Now this league I'm doing a similar type thing. Shout out to one of my mods in Twitch chat, Zenth, for spiffing this up a little bit, but I have my 3 builds I'm looking into, so I did a similar setup for this. For example, for the Blazing Salvo Firestorm miner I was talking about, the character's no longer found good. Picking what build you want isn't that difficult. I honestly suggest picking 3 builds like I've shown you right today. Identify what build you're interested in. You know, again, we can do a process together. I want to play a Slayer, but I don't want to use Cyclone, so let's cross off Cyclone in its entirety. What other people are playing? They're playing a lot of Flicker Strike, a lot of Elemental Hit, a lot of Sweep, a lot of Ice Crash. I hate dying, so I want to pick a build that's tankier. You know what's really tanky? Most builds in hardcore. Let's check on solo self on hardcore, because if they can do it there, anybody can. So let's check solo self on builds in hardcore. Which one is the deepest in delve? They're not very deep. What about the most life? Okay, so we got a lot of build of life. We got Earth Shatter, we got Earthquake, Peripherate, Molten Burst, Peripherate. Go to that Peripherate. Let's go with that. Perforate. Cool. Now, what other Perforate builds are not Slayers? Maybe there's other people playing. A lot of Gladiators, Champion, Slayer, Deadeye. Alright, so let's say fuck Slayer. Forget about Slayer. Moving on to Gladiator now. What Gladiator Perforate builds there? About the same depth. And I want to use 2 hands, 1 hands. I kind of like going sword and board. Let's do shield and sword. All right, our list is pretty narrow now. They all look like they have mostly call to arms. I really do enjoy using call to arms. I think call to arms is a very fun thing to use. So let's put on call to arms as one of the things you're doing. Down to 5 builds now. So you've kind of seen how we've trimmed and carefully constructed what we want as our baseline. And if we get from this point even, we can just click on a hardcore harvest and get a very similar setup to maybe a build that they've done a little bit stronger. This guy's running agnostic. That's interesting, but he's probably using a timeless tool, right? Shabakwi. There it is. All right, so which one do the most damage? This guy does the most damage, still has 7k life, has some ES. Let's check out his gear. It's all pretty much standard rare crafted stuff. I like what he's doing. It's got some damage taken from shenanigans going on, but it's a very good baseline. So again, I could use his tree and his build and his setup as a baseline for myself as a tanky and reliable build that I could use at my heist start. Granted, the reason I say pick 3 builds is because you don't really know what patch note's going to hit, but even then, in most scenarios, patch notes can shit on your build and you'll still be okay. But yeah, that's how I pretty much use POENinja to figure out what build I want to play. This is how I pick my builds and how I kind of cultivate the sense of how I want to pick a build. It's not a very complicated process. It really all boils down to your taste. I want to really emphasize something here. In solo self-found, you could pretty much do anything. All it matters is the amount of time and effort you put into it. You could play a lot of builds that people say are really difficult to gear in solo self-found, even as a league starter, if you just put that little extra amount of time, little amount extra fucking oomph, you know? For those who say you can't start as a Golemancer because it's shit, I spit on you. Groost, I thought spitting was your thing. It's what? Okay, it's possible. You could do it, no problem. It just takes a little bit extra effort, a little bit extra time. But if that's what you want to do, totally accessible. If they're doing it in solo self-found, you could do it anywhere. Don't be so worried about what's good. Just more so be worried about what feels good and what's fun. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much how I pick my builds. If you have any questions about how this process went, rewatch the video. It was flawless. But seriously, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I'm at Lighty and hope to see you all in Heist. And have a good one. Ciao, ciao. I'm doing the finger guns right now. You can't see it, but I'm doing the finger guns.